All right, joining me today is my roommate Gavin Drake. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
That's good to hear. So we have a few questions here, going over sort of the sequelization, remakes, and reboots of Hollywood. The question we're trying to figure out today is this sort of a cannibalization of the movie industry itself. And so just answer honestly, just to the best of your ability. You're not being graded on how you answer it. Can you think of any sequels, remakes, or reboots that you've enjoyed more than the original?
I like Cars 2 and 3 more than Cars 1.
Okay, okay, those are valid answers. Um, do you ever would you ever see that there is a need to remake or sequelize something?
I don't think there's a need to do it, but I think it can enhance the viewership. It depends on what it is. If it's like Star Wars, then yeah, there's a need. It depends if it's left on a cliffhanger or not.
Okay, so kind of like how like the story is being like formulated and
Yeah.
everything, how it comes together. So sequels and remakes are not nothing. They're not anything new to Hollywood. They've been doing it. The biggest boom was back in the '80s. However, there has been a much more desire to go to the sequel or remake route in recent years. Do you think that there's just a sort of lack of original ideas anymore, or is this just coming purely based off what's profitable?
I think it's a mix of both. I think there's a lack of ideas, but I also think that the profit is a big incentive because like yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars remakes and stuff like that, and a lot of people say the newer Star Wars are not as good as the older ones, but there's such a the name of it brings people in just knowing there's a new Star Wars movie, and I feel like there was a lack of new ideas in that movie too.
Okay. Something I've noticed as of late is that every time you sit down and watch Christmas movies, year in and year out, is the same ones as since you were watching when you were a kid. And so, does this that mean that a lot of during the holiday season we are looking for nostalgic movies, or is it the fact that a lot of the ones can't quite capture that same spirit as some of the older ones can?
I think it's a mix of both. I think it's definitely a nostalgia aspect because like Grace's family, for example, my girlfriend, she'll go back to Family Vacation or
Mm-hmm.
National Lampoon's Vacation
Yeah,
for
yeah.
over and over, and she'll watch that movie on repeat just because it's a nostalgia aspect. But it's also a really good movie, and there's not many movies that can compete with that.
Okay. So, switching genres here, Ringu, or better known as The Ring here in the West, are basically two different movies. Same concept, same ideas, same everything pretty much. However, The Ring is a Western remake of the original. And so, do you ever feel that there may be a need to remake a film or movie from other foreign countries? And would that ever justify changing the original story to better fit sort of like what's more normal to us here in the West?
I think so. I think it's definitely worth doing if to fit like a larger demographic like the United States.
Okay. So, according to an article done by the Digital Scholarship in the Humanities, you don't have to remember that, don't worry. Most remakes come from 19 during the 1980s, and they were remaking classic Hollywood films. So stuff that was during war times and everything, they found a lot easier to be able to make remakes for. So I guess so for this one, my question is there ever justification for sequels, as that's what we're seeing more in the modern age? And so something like Marvel heavily benefited off doing a lot of sequels to their movies and sort of building their world based off that. Do you feel that's the new way to go about it? Like, did Marvel do it right? And are they still continually upholding that sort of level of pristine or like renown they had back in the day?
I think Marvel did do it right. However, I think they're falling off a cliff with the
Mm-hmm.
new stuff. And to say if that's the way like all movies should go, I don't think so because it depends on like the genre of movie and how they want to do it. Marvel, since the comics, they had a very straight framework of how to make them all
Mm-hmm.
sequels and how to build off each other.
Okay. Quick follow up question on that one. A brand like DC has been trying their own way of making their own like cinematic universe and everything. Do you think something like DC, like can what Marvel did be replicated again, or does someone have to kind of reinvent the wheel?
I think you put James Gunn in charge and he's got it.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Um, all right, so indie films have always had far less budget than like the big studio Hollywood productions. However, the movie Flow, the animated film, had the cat with all the different animal creatures and everything.
I don't think I saw that one.
In 2024, it won Best Animated Picture, and this film had a budget of only 3.7 million, which is far more modest than what a lot of Hollywood productions can do. Based off that, despite the fact that indie films can produce great stories, they're often going to be more poor quality a lot of the time just because of lack of resources. Do you think that indie films can gradually, over time, overcome the limitations set by Hollywood, or will Hollywood always hold the seat as the king in filmmaking?
I think it's definitely possible. I think that Hollywood is always going to be up there, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't see any reason why someone else can't come in
Okay.
other than budget and stuff like that. Over time, I think it is a possibility. It's going to be a difficult hill to climb, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, because I definitely think Hollywood has like cemented itself. Because even you have things like Bollywood or like other like sort of knockoff versions of it.
Yeah.
So, but it just seems like there's been more of a creative struggle in recent years. Um, Final question here. Remakes, sequels, AI, and streaming have all impacted the film industry, especially in the last like 6 years, ever since like post COVID, kind of. Um, and this has made an impact on both the industry itself and the consumers, us, people who go and watch these movies. Do you see a potential shift in what we consume from here on out? And is this going to negatively impact? So, are we going to kind of see less quality, more use of AI, or just resorting to remakes? Or is this going to potentially lead to a sort of like rebirthing of the industry? There's been a lot of strikes in the past couple of years, a lot of desire for change. And so, which way do you kind of see it going down?
I've actually thought a decent amount about this question, but
Please, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
so I think that the strikes might inevitably be the death of filmmakers because eventually AI, I feel like it's going to get so advanced, there won't be a need for like there's always going to be a need for a set, but I don't think there's always going to be a need for the actors. There's going to be a
Mm,
need for the people in the background, like making the lighting and doing all the things, doing the editing in the background.
mm-hmm.
But I think actors and potentially writers could become obsolete because of how advanced AI is going to be. It can just generate, give me a movie with Mel Gibson and Leonardo DiCaprio doing
Mm-hmm.
X, and it'll make it in 2 minutes versus what it'll take a script writer years of their life to perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
like the AI is not going to be perfect immediately, but I mean, eventually it could just spit out so many. You're going to find one you like, and it's going to hit a target market. But I also think it could go as far as someone like you and me having the technology, just sitting on the couch typing in, "I want a movie with Mel Gibson and Leonardo DiCaprio doing X," and we'll see what happens. But I think that
Okay.
takes a lot of the love of the film away, which is why I'm about to counter myself. Why I think we're always going to need real people and real actors
Yeah.
because I don't want to watch a movie with fake people. I want to know the heart they're putting into it, like the time they took to get into their role. Like that's one of the things about watching like guys that like put so much commitment into losing weight for roles, gaining
Yeah.
weight,
Yeah.
getting
Definitely.
jacked, like The Rock just did for the Smashing Machine. He put on 30 pounds of
Mm-hmm.
muscle, completely changed his appearance. Like that means something to me when I'm watching a film. Like the amount of effort and time it took, not just a couple clicks of the button.
Okay. All right. Well, that is all the questions I have for you. Thank you for joining me in this interview. I really appreciate it.
No problem.